What it do, world? It's your minds and them, the Toothless Wonder, on the late night edition of the Bamboozled Again News Network. I know sometimes I be all over the place, right? But I want to help y'all identify the oxymoron of the Negro Christian Democrat, right? In which these individuals, and it's no knock on them, this is just to bring awareness, you know what I'm saying? You ain't got, don't shoot the messenger, you feel me? But it's odd, and I used to have these conversations with someone who's of the baby boomer generation, and they kind of just regurgitate whatever they see on MSNBC. Okay, cool, fine, I get it. But you know what's wild though with these folk, and I'm also cover the right, the conservative Republican right, and how we've all been duped into believing that voting and whatever the case may be, we have any power. They're just helping to funnel us where they want us to go. So the Christianized Democrat voting Negro ends up voting for the same policies that are against what they read about on Sundays. You know what I mean? And then end up complaining about the very thing they voted for. Like with Kamala or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to bring change because they know everybody wants change. But you're actually in power now. Why don't you change it now? Why do we have to vote for you? Why don't you get jiggy now? And then that would lead credence to your leadership ability. But none of these people are actually in power. They're just the people. They're like political WWE. They're the best character to run the next phase of the storyline. And I think that's a hard thing for the average American to wrap their mind around. You see what I'm saying? Um, all the things are in the Bible, which abortion is essentially the modernized version of sacrificing your children to Moloch or Planned Parenthood. Those are democratic standpoints and whatnot. Sweet marriage, you know, which violates, the commandments in the Bible. They voted for that, you know what I'm saying? Feminism, women empowerment, which hasn't actually empowered women at all because they're still online complaining. It actually took away the accountability for them to basically practice whoredom to their own detriment. They voted for all this stuff. Like with the baby boomer generation Negro I was talking about, we got to get the Democrats in. And they only say that because they hate the other party so much, not because they actually agree with whatever they're pushing. Because whatever they're pushing is like all the whoredom and like older people can, or just men in general, will complain about the quality of women. But the party you vote for is actually about liberating women, the very thing you're complaining about. You know what I'm saying? Like I covered in the last video when they was talking about like the gas price and all that. The dude you put in there, who you were singing and shucking and jiving for, who can't stay woke, actually, uh, created or kind of shut down those various pipelines and whatnot that would have given us some semblance of energy independence. And now we got to go buy from somewhere else. And now you complain about you ain't got enough gas to get to work. Or to get to the trick, you trying to pay $40 to get. And she talking to you crazy. You actually, um, you actually put your energy into the very same things you're complaining about. Where are all the men? But there's a super duper masculation agenda, which has been tied into the sweetness agenda. You know what I mean? And okay, you sweet or whatever the case may be, that's cool, fun, and dandy. But how they promote, push it, and sell it to you. So much so that if you're against it for whatever the particular reason, now you're a bigot. Now you get labeled. Now you're getting called names. You're homophobic. You're this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? That'd be like me saying I'm alcoholophobic. You can get drunk all you want. I just don't want to be around it. You see what I'm saying? Now, on the other side of the coin, I'm not for the Republican Party either, even though conservative values are more in line biblically. However, the way they practiced it is actually practiced in bigotry and hate, such as, Like during slavery times, they'd be, at church, and then there'd be slaves chained up in the bottom. Like, how do you even do that? You know what I mean? They're both different wings or aspects that you can get funneled into of the same overall satanic agenda. That's all I'm trying to point out here. A lot of our history that we deem as history was actually engineered. For a while, let's say my grandparents' time, yeah, they went through, their various things, Jim Crow, so on and so forth. However, um, I'll make this statement. We got what we wanted, but we lost what we had. Meaning, I kind of grew up old fashioned. So on both sides, on my mother's side, my father's side, like my grandparents who had little to no education, granted maybe the economics were different, but even still they were able to facilitate certain things, right? And these people may not have a whole lot of education, but they were very wise in living life. That's why everybody come to them and ask them, for their advice. Or not just to be in their presence. You understand me? To soak up the game, or just bask in that old spirit. You know what I'm saying? Uh, they both on my father and my mother's side, my grandparents owned their own land. They owned their home. You see what I'm saying? Granted, as things like they pushed or their children went and got, education through HBCUs and then took that wherever they took it. But during the time of, let's say, the baby boomers or however they were conducting society then, we still had a sense of community. There was still a certain level of black independence. During the time of the civil rights era, which, the elder statesman for that would probably be, Martin Luther King, whose father, and you can look this up, was a Prince Hall Mason. There are a lot of moves being made in the background for what you've seen presented to him as, we want to be included, we want to be treated right, was actually the Trojan horse to funnel us into society, and then the reciprocal value system that the Babylonian society put on us. Since civil rights, what has happened to the black people or the black person or, just as a whole? We've lost our families. Overall, we've lost ownership over land, communities, so on and so forth, to be included into the Babylonian system. We was always supposed to be separate. Like even if you look in the Old Testament, where they say, do not conform to the ways of the culture in the land, and eventually I'll let you out. You know what I'm saying? But in attempting to change or fight for freedoms and so on and so forth, we actually got duped into what we see now, which is a loss of freedoms. We're still not equal. Just like when I said about women's liberation, they're still not equal. They just got to be harlots without any recourse. You see what I'm saying? We've lost our families. We've lost control of our communities. We've lost control of our children by being ushered into, under the guise of acceptance, into a system where we're still, for some odd reason, still fighting to be accepted in a place that's crumbling. You smell me? And I'm not the only one to share the sentiment. At this point in the game, with Obama basically getting booed off stage and brothers hopping online like, man, Obama don't tell me what to do and do. If there was going to be any change, it would have been him. If he ain't bring it, ain't none coming. And he wasn't designed to bring no change. He was just designed to chime you in to the next phase of the agenda. Let me say this as well. From, I still remember certain teachings back in school. And then, we got to get out and vote. We got to get Kamala in there. Like she going to do something for black people. When her claim to fame is locking Negroes up at a historic rate in California and sleeping her way to the top. And she wasn't selected to be the Democratic nominee. She was basically just ushered or anointed into the spot because Joe Biden bowed out. So that's actually not the people's selection. They didn't even have a choice. Here you go. The woman you ain't seen in 3.5 years. The same woman who's currently in charge of the border, and we have an immigration crisis. She could change that now, or at least, start facilitating the steps to do so. And that's not part of the game plan. This is wrong. Rome opened up its borders. History just repeats itself. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to get everybody to understand here. But you ain't got to believe what I believe. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to point it out to you. You know what I'm saying? Oh, back during the civil rights era, um, Martin Luther King was very instrumental in galvanizing the black consciousness into wanting to be included. Like when they, get kicked out the white eateries and whatnot. Which, if you think about it, why would we fight to eat at white folk establishment when white folk can't cook like us? So we're fighting to go somewhere we don't belong at. Just to, say, we're a part of. When we were always supposed to be separate. And because of this, now since we've been ushered into the culture, now through the music, they taking over the music, so all these different type of apparatus they use, we're so far gone, we don't even remember. This is all we know. Like, say, for a brother my age, let's say, because I grew up old-fashioned, but who grows up in this type of construct, they don't, like, if you talk about coming together, or you talk about owning things, like tangible things, like assets, land, resources, that's totally far, it's nowhere near his mind. He's programmed to desire the things the system tells him, the European status symbols of fake fiat currency, let's say designer clothes, certain type of car, to live in a certain area. And all of it is fool's gold, and we about to see it. You know what I'm saying? We about to see it. And it don't matter who getting that. Props are going to take place anyway. But I think what's happening is Negroes starting to wake up and be like, no matter who I put in, you know what I'm saying? I just need to do what I need to do. And ain't nobody stop me from doing that. They might be able to hinder, throw roadblocks. But Negro always been, you know what I'm saying, overcoming, meeting challenges, getting denied. That's just part of our existence. That ain't nothing new. I'm in it now. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even stunting none of it. I don't care who getting all of it. And here's another thing. Oh, Project 25. Oh, they're gonna do this and do that and do this and do that. Oh, okay. But here's now, this isn't necessarily scriptural, right? And even when I was younger, it made no sense to me. Like when black folk be like, "Oh, they treating us bad." Let's go ask the oppressor to treat us better. That's never worked in the history of mankind. We're the only people who ask the oppressor to stop oppressing us. Everybody else go fight. You know what I mean? Like, fight back. What else are you going to do? And I don't mean necessarily, and it can be that physically fight, you know what I'm saying, whatever the case may be. But fight mentally, fight spiritually. You know what I'm saying? All the fight is gone. Because they got you conditioned, whether you realize it or not, to be subservient to the system. I think Frederick Douglass had a quote. He said, man, we're not actually fighting for freedom. We're actually fighting for a more comfortable enslavement. We can't picture any kind of lifestyle or society outside of Babylon. Outside of working for the man. Outside of going and get these GMO food. Well, yo, you know what's crazy? Like I said, I live in a rural small town, right? So my mother's church friend, he served under my mother's pastor. You know what I mean? So he came by with some fresh fish, right? But it was all catfish, of course. I don't eat that. My mom don't eat it. You know what I mean? So I rolls around in the hood trying to find somebody to get a catfish to. You understand? Now, mind you, that they had to be peeled, right? But I found it so tripping. Just like I said in previous video, how black people can't stand heat no more, yo. We're designed to withstand heat. You know what I'm saying? Now we don't want no part of heat because Babylon we're so conditioned to be in Babylon, like we ready fist fight if there ain't no AC, yo. During the summertime, it was crazy how many niggas, hey, man, it's too hot out here. And we in Maryland. Let alone be in Florida or an Iowa or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, we supposed to like the heat, yo. But I just found it so odd that I couldn't even get a fish away. Because nobody had the skill set or desired to clean them. Like I went to South Carolina one time and went to the girl I was dealing with, I think it was like the Columbia Orangeburg area. We went to like a catfish farm. Now mind you, I'm the Yankee Negro, so they give me a little hard time. I can take that. And I ain't fished in a while, so I was a little rusty. But I end up, at the end, I hit a buzzer beat and brought in the biggest catfish, you know what I'm saying? So now I'm one to folk over, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm shuck and jive, yeah, you know what I mean? But it was like a family affair where we hung them up, we peeled them, we put them in a deep fryer right there, we kicking a bowl, woo woo, you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody wants to do that. I'm like, yo, they would give you something to do, yo, you know what I'm saying? Bring your homeboys over while y'all drinking beer, whatever, you know what I mean? Chopping it up, you know what I mean? Like, the sense of community is gone. But we gave it up, wanting to be included. And I could see how the idea of wanting to be treated fairly. I get it. I might have got caught up with it. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you keep hearing it and hearing it and hearing it. You know what I mean? But we were never meant to be a part of it. Just like we still not a part of it now. Like, you can only get certain places unless you're one or two things. The bully coon or the broken panderized Negro. That's why, not just in black, I think in America, like a lot of males, let's say my demographic age range, let's say 35, 45, they're leaving the jobs, they're leaving relationships because they're saying, I'm not getting none of this, but I got to put all my blood, sweat, and tears in. Who? For what? What am I getting out of it? You can't even do the right thing here no more. You can't even get married because the way they've conditioned the modern woman. You know what I'm saying? Then you walk away with all this trauma and you can't raise your kids and all that. You know what I mean? It's so crazy here because of, let's say, the women's lib agenda and the feminism and the alternative lifestyles agenda. It's so crazy that just regular masculinity is hated here. You either have to be, again, one or two things. You either have to be, the kind of panderized, tippy-tomming, borderline sweet Negro so everybody can feel more comfortable in your presence. Or if you're the hyper-masculine, impulsive, rah-rah type Negro, back and forth jail, you know what I mean, that type of Negro. Like, you might get all the play as far as, like, all the harlots, which ain't getting nobody nowhere. You know what I'm saying? But you will get that benefit. But if you're just a regular man, man, you ain't doing a whole bunch of hooping and hollering. You're just trying to handle your business. You're just trying to treat people right. You give respect. You're trying to get it back. Just a regular man are going through the worst. You know what I'm saying? They got you thinking you lame so that you take either one or two routes. Either you go super toxic or you just, stick your tail between your legs and just hope to be accepted. Bamboozled again. That's why me, myself, I barely even participate unless there's some personal benefit or I perceive that whatever I'm delving myself into can take me to another phase of the journey I'm trying to get to. And at the same time, I see the possibility of that. Also in the equation, my ability to be able to pull myself out of it if it goes left. So it's going to either get me to where I'm going, at least I believe that, and if it don't, or something nuance comes into play that starts affecting me, I can pull myself out of it without a second thought and don't care. That's why I'm real big on leverage now. And I understand that now to a greater degree. Like, I don't get into nothing I can't pull out of. That's the leverage I got. I'm not going along. You can't offer me a whole bunch of money. You can't get me changed my principle. You can't do nothing. And the worst that could possibly happen, I've already endured and can do it again. But I like the satisfaction that you couldn't break me. You couldn't change me. You know what I'm saying? One, they'll respect you. Two, it almost seems like they're afraid of you. Like, where he come from? You know what I'm saying? But that's just a little quick one. I just got some gas and just wanted to hop on here with a late night edition of the Bamboozle Again News Network. Cover your six. Hoo-ah!